均一なるどんな夢を見てる無意識に握り返す指先に小さならいつまで見れるどこまで行ける無情にめくれるカレンダー弱くて儚い握力ゼロのハーツきっと気づかぬうちにこの手を振りほどき背中を乗り越え愛する誰かを守るだろうで育児なしで日本足も震えてるいつかは来るさよならが来る次の日のないカレンダー嘘色染めゆく醜い世界は立ち向かう小さな正義を絶対誰かが見てるからいつまで見れるどこまで行けるどんな夢を見てる汚れなく温かい握力ゼロのハーツ大丈夫さこの手は俺の手振りほどき背中を乗り越え愛する誰かを守る手だ
God damn it! My bad. I deeply apologize for everything, guys. I really do. Honestly, I try so hard to give you guys good content. Quality content. And here I am, just fucking things up. Utter freaking worst. I swear. I'm going through my list and seeing what is on the menu. So, yeah. It's kind of touching things up. So, for those that don't know, me and Dark just finished a podcast, and we are doing games of the year, well, games that we played for the year of 2020. And yeah, so basically what I want to do is I want to give you guys, like, essentially my list that I wanted to do, because I can make a list of 15. So, yeah, let's go ahead and kill the music. So, because I have a list of 15, I figured, well, let's go on ahead and let's like freaking do this. So, I decided to go with online multiplayer, and for our first category here. Yeah, so basically I have a list of essentially 15, and I have a list that is I still need to pull it up. Just make sure that we got everything down, everything is solid. So these are multiplayer games or co-op games. It could be PvP, PvE, just as long as it's multiplayer. Any multiplayer game out there. I went with the list for multiplayer games that released that wasn't in 2020, and a list for games that did release in 2020. So, and I did that so that way I want to give proper respect to where it is earned, where it is deserved. So, yeah, and I felt like by breaking it down by released in 2020, not released in 2020, and online. And basically, it's just to go over a list that I liked, that I loved, that I played in 2020. So, with that in mind, honestly, let's just get right into it. I could sit here and say how much I did enjoy the podcast with Dark. I thought it was great. I really did thought it was great. So, yeah. Also, I just now realized, do I actually have everything good over on YouTube? YouTube is a little wonky. So, give me a second here, guys, because I do apologize. Oh, yeah, it actually... Oh my god, I think this is actually a separate stream. That is awesome, because that's what I wanted. Can we reload? Because I think Twitch is fine, it's just... Oh, wait! Yeah! Oh, crap, I meant to do that. Chat, I meant to do that. I thought I got everything right! I did not. I failed again, miserably. I did everything, and then all of a sudden... Nope. Nope. It shows that I'm doing the same podcast. Ugh, my bad. My freaking bad, guys. I'm so sorry. I'm really sorry. I thought I did everything. I thought I did everything, but I did not. I did not. Well then. Well then. Obviously, we're gonna go ahead and fix all of that right now. But yeah, I'm gonna be doing games that I played for 2020. And I have it broken down into 3 categories of 5. And 5 games, 5... So this list is going to be 5 multiplayer games that I played in 2020. Just like what I did on the podcast, only this time, I covered all my bases that I don't have to do any honorable mentions. I don't need to do any honorable mentions. I am golden. So there's no honorable mentions, it's just the list. So with that in mind, multiplayers for 2020 that I played. So yeah. So my first multiplayer game, I'm not going to be doing I'm not going to be looking up videos and stuff and do all that. I'm just going to go through the list. So yeah, my first multiplayer game, number 5, I guess I should say. First mention, but number 5 on the list. So my number 5 game that I went with for 2020 is World War Z. Now, this was a game that wasn't even on my radar. I got the game on Epic for free, and Dark really enjoyed this. Well, at least he was the one that mentioned it, I guess I should say, so my bad. Dark mentioned that he really wanted to play this game, and he invited me to do it. I downloaded it, and off stream, we played together. It was awesome. I had a lot of fun. I even went as far as playing the game even further off stream, and to the point to where I actually started to prestige ranks because I wanted everything. And the reason why this didn't make my main list is because I really loved it, and basically I played it to the point to where it wasn't as fun anymore. So I basically played it to death to the point to where I was happy at the point that I ended. So I believe I even played this on a podcast when Dark posted. So like I just played this game out, and it was really fun and interesting. It basically plays like Left 4 Dead 2. So it's that same concept. I believe there was like 4 or 5 stories going on, and you had 4 or 5 sets of individuals. I forget the exact number, don't quote me. But I remember, I want to say Israel was one, Russia was another, I think there was New York, Japan, so it was all over the place. And once you pick essentially the map, you're restricted to these characters and all that stuff. So I forget the exact details because it's been a while since I last played, but it was a lot of fun. It was interesting. It's basically horde mode is all you're just basically doing, and you're trying to complete objectives along the way. There is a bona fide actual, but there is like a little bit of story. Just it's exactly like what you would get out of Left 4 Dead 2. Like in Left 4 Dead 2, I remember like there was a moment in the game to where in one particular map, like you have to essentially kind of hold down the fort and also like get across a bridge and stuff. So you're completing objectives, but you're being attacked, and you got to get to point A to point B. I remember another map that people really do love to play. It's a carnival, and you're going through the carnival, and you're being chased by zombies. And again, I'm talking about Left 4 Dead 2 here. And so, like, it was always point A, point B. Well, World War Z is the exact same way. You're thrown into a map, and you gotta go from point A to point B, complete objectives, and you're just being attacked by zombies. And World War Z, it's just the exact same thing. It's exactly like that. You just point A, point B. The AI is slightly different from Left 4 Dead. It's got decent graphics. It's got decent gameplay. Basically, if you like Left 4 Dead 2, you're gonna love World War Z. And I had a lot of fun. There is stats and character building, so that's a little bit different from Left 4 Dead 2. So if you're familiar with Payday 2, it kind of works in a similar fashion, although it will probably be closer to... Although I would probably say it might be a little... Well, no. I was gonna say it's a little bit like that one game that Overkill did. Or was it Seabreeze? Well, I guess it's basically the same company. I'm trying to think of that World War II game that they did, and it relatively flopped. And I'm drawing a blank on that game. But I was gonna say that, but then no, I don't know. But it's something like that. Something like Payday 2 and that World War II game. I'm trying to blank on that one. I think Cam Opera actually bought me that game a long time ago, and sadly, I just haven't really been playing it. But then again, for me, it's one of those games that I would have more enjoyment if other people play with me, and I just never got invited to a game. So it's just one of those things. But yeah, that's my pick for my fifth favorite multiplayer game, World War Z. And then my fourth favorite is Killing Floor 2. So Killing Floor 2 is pretty much exactly like World War Z to a degree, only this one is a little bit different with its with its stats. I believe you could get up to a rank 25. I think you can prestige, and for every 5 ranks, you essentially level up, and you could pick a perk. And if you fully level, you're able to handle harder difficulties and be able to help your team out. I think you could have up to it's like 6 or 8 people, I believe. I think it's 6. I think it's 6 people, and it's very fun, very entertaining, and yeah, it's just a lot of fun. Shoot zombies. There's different types of zombies. I don't remember all the zombies that's in World War Z. There is different zombies in World War Z, but there's definitely, I feel like, a more variety in Killing Floor 2, I believe. Not just with what they do, but also in look. So, like, you got, what is it, Skrakes, you got floats, and you know, they're different kind of types of zombies, and they're have a different means of attack. And that is also in World War Z, but I don't remember if there was too many of a distinction between zombies. It seemed like in World War Z it was relatively all the same kind of type of zombies, but they did have different attacks and abilities with the zombies in World War Z. But in Killing Floor 2, like, there's a noticeable difference in look and attack. So, and yeah, that's basically what it is. You're not really completing objectives too much, although you can find there is a boss fight in Killing Floor 2, which does separate it from World War Z. Also, the music in Killing Floor 2, I mean, I'm a fan of heavy metal, so when I hear heavy metal music playing, killing zombies, like, that just, oh my god, I love it so much. I really do like the music in Killing Floor 2. It's, music-wise, is pretty freaking good. It's really good. I'm a fan of it. I mean, if all else fails, I just love listening to instrumentals. And holy shit, like, it's really good. I really love some Killing Floor 2. Also, I believe for number 3, Killing Floor 2 was my number 4. My number 3 pick for online multiplayers is Payday 2. Payday 2 is a game that I basically started my channel on. I had a bullshit laptop, as I would say, and like, I could only run Payday 2. It's a lot of fun. It's a classic. I absolutely love it. I actually have been considering going back into Payday a little bit, just to play it. I haven't played it in what feels like forever, and I wouldn't mind doing it. I also just now realized that by looking in my Discord, the voice actor for the Butcher, she passed away. I forget her name, but which is probably the reason why I didn't bring it up on the podcast, because of that. And it was sad to see her go. It really was. I actually started my day with that information, and I was like, holy shit. Like, that really sucks. I thought she did her job very well as a voice actor. And I could be wrong on this, but if I remember correctly, I think she was one of the people that you hear when you do the Scarface Mansion, which is one of my favorite DLCs, and you can no longer purchase that DLC anymore. If you do own it, you get to keep it, but if you don't own it, yeah, it's been taken down off the store, so feels bad, but it is what it is. But yeah, not Killing Floor 2, but Payday 2. Payday 2 is a bunch of heisters. You rob banks. You could use a variety of weapons. I love some of the updates that they released. I love akimbo pistols, or anything akimbo, really. Assault rifle, shotguns. I really love that aspect. It's one of the reasons why I love Max Payne, is you're able to do, like, dual wield weapons, because that was always a staple in Max Payne, and I think even in San Andreas it was also in San Andreas as well, and it's just, I love holding two weapons at the same time. There's a joke in The Simpsons to where I think everyone's at the bar, and you have Carl, Lenny, and Moe, and Carl and Lenny are having a conversation, and it's like something along the lines of, everyone's always really happy when they have two wives. No, 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 no. You got that all wrong. You mean you're thinking of someone who has two knives, and then it cuts to Mo Sizlak, and he has two knives in his hand. And he's like, "I gotta tell you guys, this is pretty cool." Hey, he has like a smile on his face. He's holding two knives. Oh my god! Every single time when I think of Akimbo, that's my first thought is Mo Sizlak holding two knives, saying, "I gotta say, this is pretty cool." Hey. Just seeing the smile on his face, holding two knives. That's me, like holding like Hitman 47's baller pistols that he uses. Which what is it? Hitman 3 released, and I would love to play that game. I don't know if I'll stream it, but I definitely want to play it. I still need to look into getting Hitman 2, I believe. And for the record, I'm talking about the more recent Hitman games, because I believe I played every Hitman game that ever released. So, but anyway, that's kind of another story. But anyway, Hitman's a good game. But anyway, but yeah. So with Payday 2, when they released pistols and stuff, and you could like dual wield them, and you could dual wield SMGs and shotguns and what have you. Like, I freaking love that. It's one of my reasons why I just love I just love playing games like that. It's just awesome. And yeah, so Payday 2, it's my number 3 pick for multiplayers in 2020. It's a co-op game, by the way, so yeah, it's just really good, really fun with friends, and you rob banks, and yeah, it's just a lot of fun. Get the thermal drill, by the way. Gotta love Bane, or hate him, but either way, you gotta love him. Anyway, so my number 2 top games that I played, multiplayer / co-op, is Remnant from the Ashes. Now, I, once again, got this game on for free, on Epic, and Remnant from the Ashes, it's everything that I really want to see in a multiplayer. Like, it's just so much fun. It reminds me a lot of like Division in a lot of ways, because a lot of the same mechanics is there, but whatever Division did, like, Remnant from the Ashes just took everything that they did but better, and added boss fights. Although there are legit boss fights in Division, but they have like way more boss fights. You're able to customize your character in any way you want. It's definitely more of like a RPG based kind of type of shooter. It's really different, and you could like get items and stuff. You could attach it to your character, and you could get, and by having certain items, I think you can have like a necklace, and you could get a boost from that one way or another. Get more health. You could reload faster. I think you have like special attacks that you could do, if I remember correctly. And like there's, I kind of forget because it has been a while. But yeah, you could do all sorts of things in that game, and it's an RPG shooter, and it's just so good. It's a co-op game. You could play kind of like most of the games on this list. It's total of 4 players total, so yourself and 3 other friends. if I'm not mistaken, I think most, if not all, of this list can be done single player. And yeah, or at least looking at the list right now so far, every game that I have right now is all could all be done single player if you so choose. But if you want, you could have up to 3 other players, except for Killing Floor 2. I think you have 6. But anyway, but Remnant from the Ashes, really, really good. I heard Chronos, Before the Ashes, is coming out, and I seen some screenshots of it. It From the screenshots that I've seen, I hope it's changed, but it looks way, way more like Dark Souls to me with Chronos. Not that that's a bad thing, but having RPG elements with and be able to have a shooter out of it makes it more interesting and unique. And I felt like having an RPG shooter just makes it unique. And because of that, that's why I liked Remnant. So Chronos, because it looks like more Dark Souls, I think it might lose that luster that I fell in love with out of Remnant. But yeah. Anyway, with that said, I still love Remnant in particular. I love how they have different maps, and every time you play the game, the map changes and boss changes. You have randomized bosses that could spawn in the map, in certain locations of the dungeon, and or their own dungeons, and it's so interesting. I absolutely love it. It's really, really good. However, it kind of fell victim a little bit to the same way I do with World War Z, and that is, I kind of got what I want out of it. So I know I was streaming that game for a little while. I'm still actually kind of in my playthrough, but I'm just kind of done. I kind of got what I want out of it, and as good as it is, it's I'm just kind of done. So yeah. But I still had fun with what I had in it. It wouldn't be at the number 2 spot that it's in if I didn't enjoy it. The time I had in it is still good. And for the record, out of the list that I'm seeing, definitely, I would say 2 of the games so far, I would still dive back in it, even though Payday 2, it's been a while. But Remnant from the Ashes and World War Z, I love them. I did enjoy them. I think I want to see a sequel out of them, and I think World War Z 2 would be good, and another Remnant from the Ashes 2 I think would also be good. But for the current games, I still have fun in them. I think they're great, but I got what I wanted out of it, and I kind of moved on. So yeah, there you go. And of course, my number 1. What else could it be? It's Max Payne freaking 3. I like sex, dude. I really like sex. It's Max Payne 3 is my favorite game of all time. It's the multiplayer is so good. I could get into 50-50 fights, come out on top, and feel like a god. I can get so many kills. Me and my friend were even talking about this. One of my IRL friends. We were talking about this. Like, if me and my friend jump in the same lobby, like, it is done. It is over. The reason why is me and him, we play to have fun, and it is fun just not giving a shit and just doing whatever. I used to have like a 2.0 KDR, but like it just I gave up on it, so it just went right out the window. But I freaking love this game. It was so good. There is whenever there's a smaller map, the 55th or small areas in a map, I just like breaking out a freaking melee weapon and just run around and just look for people to melee. The 55th Battalion is one of my favorite maps to just break out a melee weapon, break out a nightstick, and just go to town. There is a song called, I think it's called Walk the Night? Scat Brothers? Is that what I'm thinking of? Hold on. I want to see... Oh, that might be copyrighted music! I was listening to music, when I was kind of waiting for Dark to go up to the podcast, so... I'm gonna say that was... Scat Brothers... Walk the Night. Yeah. That's the song. So, there's a song called Walk the Night from Scat Brothers. It's a disco song, but it's so different. It's really different. And what makes it so different is it's a disco song, but like it almost is kind of a bit of a rock song to some degree. But it's but if you classify it as a rock song, it's an interesting rock song. And it's just really good, and I love it because, I mean, it's basically about having sex, but there is moments to where I think there's a line that goes, 5 fingers right across the face or something like that, and it's talking about like just slapping somebody. And every time when it gets to that, like when you like break out a melee weapon, it's like slap right across your face, booyah, take care, gotta get you good. And every single time when it gets to that part of the song, like and I think when the song first starts, there's a guy laughing and it's like echoing, and every time when I hear Walk the Night, like me and my friends just laugh like, dude, are you gonna walk the night in Battalion? Oh, you know I'm gonna walk the night Battalion. Yeah, I'm gonna find some hookers and we're gonna raid that 55th Battalion is like kind of like there's supposed to be, I think, like a riot going on, and it's supposed to be it's kind of a little bit canon to the story, to where in the game there is like a riot going on and people are like let out of prison, and what takes place at the 55th Battalion police station is it's basically supposed to be reenacting that breakout that goes on. So it's kind of canon to the main story, but it's in the multiplayer. And every single time when I do that map online, it's so good. By the way, I should also point out that Max Payne, I think, is the only game on the list that you can't play single player. Actually, no, wait. There is a game mode. What is it? Deathmatch Made in Heaven, I think it is. And you could do that single player, but it's basically horde mode is what it is. But you got to do like a private lobby and do it that way. Also, one of the maps is broken. It's one of the bad things about Max Payne 3 is it does have broken lobbies. A lot of basically every DLC map has connection issues, especially Panama. The Panama map is one of the most broken maps ever. But then again, it is problems all across the board. This game was released in 2012. I still love this game, but my god, the the janitor was doing something around those servers, and he tripped over a cord and it unplugged something, and no one's ever just plugged that crap back in. And someone just needs to take a look at those freaking Max Payne 3 servers and fix that crap. That's all I need to say. But yeah, Max Payne 3 is my favorite game of all time. The story is good. There is a story campaign, and following Max's story to Brazil, being fat and bald, as disappointing as it is, there's something about it I still like. The series is good as a whole, and Max Payne 3 is just my favorite game of all time for multiple reasons. The story in the game is relatively decent, and it's absolutely fun gameplay. And it has a multiplayer that is top notch, that no other game can scratch that itch. It's really unique in its own way. I would love to see a Max Payne community just expand and blow up. But a man can dream, though. I still do play Max Payne 3 online, but since Cyberpunk released, the only people that play Max Payne 3 these days are PC. The PC crowd, it's like dirt cheap. You could find it you could get the entire game for $10 on a sale. And which I have to say, like, I created another account just so that, because my friends, my IRL friends said that, oh, it's so hard to rank up. And I was like, well, I'm going to put that to the test. So I bought the game again. I bought this game like multiple times. Bought it on PlayStation 3, bought it on PC, bought it on PC again because I wanted another account. And I cannot tell you how funny it is to be like a level 5 just running around, and I'm scaring off all these high level 50 guys that are using the broken sawed off, and they have their Bond suit, and yet this little small level 5 with a nightstick is just whooping their ass. Dude, oh my god, I cannot get that out of any other game. It is absolutely just freaking god tier. I love it. I absolutely love Max Payne 3. That is my number one favorite game multiplayer of 2021. This is so good. Absolutely good. So, anyway, moving on. Oh, wait, what the hell is this? I just started clicking a whole bunch of stuff, and I was like, wait, what the fuck is this? So, give me a second to set up my next list. So I have 3 categories, and now we're going to be doing games that were released in 2020. So let's take a look at that. Okay. 2020. So yeah, this next list is going to be games that I played that did release in 2020. So I'm sure there's going to be more than plenty of enough games that is like, well, why isn't this game on the list? Why isn't that game on the list? Well, it's probably that way because I didn't play them. I heard... what was it? I thought I heard there was a Spider-Man game that released, and I mean, Spider-Man's good, but I never played Spider-Man, so not that I don't want to at all, but I just don't have console, so. And I think the same could go for, like, say, God of War and stuff, so yeah, this is kind of the way it is. So, but from the games that I did play on PC for 2020, I thought we're pretty good. So yeah, I just gotta make sure that I do this right. So. Just scroll that up. Right. So it's gonna take me a moment to set everything up. I don't know the proper spelling on some of these, or at least the one I'm looking at right now. So I'm just gonna capitalize that because I'm assuming that's how it's capitalized. I do apologize if the spelling on some of these are wrong. Yeah. My bad. Okay. Almost done. Some of these are going to be from the podcast that I already... Oh, God, that is not right. There we go. Some of these are going to be done from the... Yeah, wait a second. What the hell? Okay, there's something wrong with my list. Okay, so that one's right. That one's right. Why doesn't mine look like that? Okay. Oh my god, dude. I screwed something up. So, yeah. Your boy Live to Win screwed something up, and I don't know. I mean, it's fixable, but... Oh my god. Okay, so... Okay, where are you supposed to be? You're supposed to be here. I think we're good. Okay. Okay. So now, what was it for this one? What do we have to... Get rid of that. That is gone. That's the one we need. Gotcha. Okay. And then for this one. Oh, I can't quite. No. Yeah. It's messing with me. Oh, wait. There we go. Okay. Actually, you know what? I'm making a last minute change. I am making a last minute change, guys. Okay. I'm making a last minute change. I'm calling an audible. Screw it. I am calling an audible. I just took one look at my list and I'm like, yep, I'm switching that. I'm switching it. You can't... It's been switched. It's... Okay, actually it hasn't been switched, but yeah. Yeah. In just a few seconds. Oh wait, but that would mean I have to move all of that, right? I have to move everything. Oh god. Um Yeah, so now I have to go here. I think we're good. Okay. Uh-huh. Yep. Okay, so yeah, I called an audible. 100% just called an audible. So I do once again apologize for everything, guys. Guys, I apologize for everything. Oh my god, that still went through. Crap. Which one was that one? Uh okay. I'm confused. I had it down and then everything just screwed up. Yes. That's what I want. That's what I want. Want. That is not what I want. Okay, what I want is there, but we gotta do there. Wait, is that it? Okay. Okay, so I think after a million years, I think I got it down. Okay. So once more. Yes. So I just made a last minute change. I just made a last minute change. And once again, I do apologize. Actually, let's not call it that. Let's call it Yes. Gosh. Okay. Okay, I think we're ready. So, this next list, I'm really doing this on the fly. So, I don't have a scene. Like, hell, even Dark was trying to change things up. Like, literally 2 minutes. We usually jump in Discord before we do the podcast. It used to be an hour. Then it dwindled down to 30 minutes. Now it's like the last 10 minutes left. and Dark apparently told me that right before we started, it was 2 minutes left, and it was like, I actually can make a top 10. Oh, man. And so basically, we were rigged to go for a top. We were rigged to go for a top 5, and he told me that days ago. So, whatever the hell. Things happen. But it is what it is, so yeah. So anyway, but that was for the original podcast that me and Dark did, but so yeah, and plus I just didn't have time to prepare for this all today. If I got up early, if I had no idea that Stardom was doing a thing yesterday, 10th anniversary. I thought that was so awesome. So I wanted to see all of those matches. They did like a full 24 hours of just showing off best of matches throughout the. I could only. I don't know. I don't know what the 10th anniversary is for. I don't know if the company's been around for 10 years. Because I think it's been out longer, but I could be wrong on that. Anyway, point is, I was watching Stardom yesterday, so had I not did that, I probably would have done other stream stuff, setting up OBS, and also I have, there's a podcast I did off stream that I kind of want to release, and well, things happen. So, but anyway, we're here now. And it is what it is. Plus, to be fair, Dark said top 5 a long time ago. So, like, I was prepared to do that. And to do a top 5, doable. If it was a top 10, I probably would have to break away from Stardom and do a top 10. So, maybe. Anyway, it's woulda, coulda, shoulda. We're here now. So yeah, games that did release in 2020. So I'm just gonna say this right off the bat. I don't have a console, so any console games, I just scratch that from the list because I have not played them. Console games are very slow to arrive on PC. I think 2020 saw Horizon Horizon Zero Dawn finally showed to PC, the complete edition, and I really want to play it, but I think it's gonna get cheap on discount, so I'm gonna wait for a discount and play it. But that just arrived in 2020. So, and I think that game released in like what, 2018 or something like that, 2019. So it took a year or two to finally show up. I actually don't know what year Horizon Zero Dawn appeared, but it definitely looks like a fun game. I want to play it, but it's just one of those things to where it takes forever to show up on PC. So Yakuza, hell, Yakuza 3, 4, and 5 is still not up to purchase for PC. Let me double check that. I'm now convinced that Sega and RGG Studios are gonna just release everything on the 28th, I believe. So I'm pulling up Steam right now. I'm gonna check one more time, but I'm pretty sure Yakuza is still not up to purchase. Yakuza 3, 4, and 5, the collector's edition. The remastered collection? The remastered collection. Excuse me. Yeah, the remastered. And yeah, it's not there. Yeah, it's just not showing up. So yeah, Yakuza Remaster Collection is still not available. Yeah, it's not on the list. Anyway, with that said, uh games on console take forever to finally arrive, so all of those games are not going to show up on the list. With that said, there are definitely going to be some indie titles showing up, so keep that in mind. And with that, let's get right into this. So, here we go. My number one, or excuse me, not my number one. My first that I'm going to announce, but it's number 5 on the list. You'll see why I had a slip of the tongue there. My 5th game on the list for 2020 that I played, that released in 2020, is Cyberpunk 2077. This was my number 1. I'm not gonna lie. I had this game at number 1 on my list. It was my number 1 favorite game on my list. But there was a video, and I explained this on the podcast, but I'll say it again. There was a apology video from CDPR, and they said, we are scheduled to release DLC. There is a roadmap showing that they are going to release DLC for the game. There's still bugs. There's still glitches. And they are not fixed. Some people are unable to play this game. They could have said, we can't run this game on consoles. We are sorry. We'll refund your money. We understand the inconvenience, but we have to pull out of last gen consoles. But for whatever reason, they didn't do that. Instead, they went forward and released 2 consoles, and I quote, "We didn't find any issues in our testing," end quote. And in that moment, they were describing their testing they'd done on consoles. Bull fucking shit. How did they not come across any issues on consoles from previous gen? That don't make sense. I want to say red flag, bullshit, motherfucker. How did you not come across any problems on last gen? It don't make sense. Now, with that said, you have to have a high-tier PC to play this game. Mid-tier PCs still struggle here and there. It's hit and miss with mid-tier. Low-tier PCs, not even an option. You have to have a decent PC, but in order to get the best experience, you have to have a high-tier PC. I don't think PlayStation 5, I don't think Xbox Series X is going to change anything. The same problems that was on last gen will be on current gen. And honestly, it's aggravating. It is frustrating. Guys, this was my number one favorite game that I've ever played, and I bumped it just now to number 5 because I can't put up with crap like that. You know the game is broken, but yet you still pushed out the game. Why? You say you didn't come across issues. Bullshit. Everyone on the internet is... There can be some exaggerations, sure. There can be some exaggerations. I will bet there was a flurry of exaggerations. But that still doesn't... That's not enough to say these problems never happened. It's... You still have issues. And even if there is no issues, then tell us why or how the hell can you not find these glitches and problems and fix them if you're showing no problems on your testing. I mean, isn't that the point? You find an issue and then you replicate the issue and you fix it. Now, maybe there's something else that I don't know, but I don't know. It does make me question exactly how games are made. There's just multiple things going on. This was my number one favorite game, but I had enough people stop by my stream who are on console, which is completely fine. I like to think that we all started on a console, but the end result, we all end up on PC, or eventually we see why PC is so good. At least that's just my opinion. But we all started on console. So when I hear that a console gamer is having problems, I'm in a position to where, even though I don't have a console, am I just going to deny that these people are not having any issues? I've had people stop by my stream and they said some of the problems and issues that they had. The frame rate is choppy as hell. It's a slideshow. In a lot of times, and some of them are not even cutscenes. Some of them are just walking about, and it gets all choppy. Frame rate's terrible. You have people just walking through buildings in some cases, or there's supposed to be a car. I even came across that off stream to where I was fighting a guy, and he was clipping through the hood of a car. And when I killed him, he glitched out and popped up, I think, on top of the hood. And it's like, what the hell just happened? So, and that was recent, by the way. That was recent off stream. I'm still playing this game off stream, guys. I'll say that right now. I'm still playing this game. I love Cyberpunk. But I'm putting at number 5... not because I hate the game, but because when there is clear issues with the game and they're not being fixed, they're not being addressed, and they're moving on, that tells me your priorities are elsewhere. You're not giving the proper love and care that this game desperately deserves. Because I want to play this without filter and say how much I love this game and be able to have people show up in my chat, be like, fuck yeah, man, it's fucking great. It's the greatest game I ever played. It is the best game of all time. Not gonna happen if it doesn't get fixed, CDPR. So, balls in your court. I really love this game from what I have played. It's rough around the edges, but for me, everything is there. Everything that I love GTA. And it's one of my favorite games of all time, is the Grand Theft Auto series. I can't enjoy I I love the game. It is so good. And everything that's CDPR put into Cyberpunk, like it's it, game of the century. Game of the century, game of the decade, game of the year. It really is all of that. But it's broken. It is. Even from what I played, it is broken. I tried to do a romance ending. I went through so many problems and issues, and there was so many. We have to play a little bit. We have to reload back to this checkpoint. We got to play a little bit. We got to reload back to this checkpoint. It was a lot of stop and reload, because someone wasn't in the proper position. I couldn't trigger the next proper stage. There was even one point to where I'm in a ship and I'm trying to just park it. The game is supposed to go into like a mini cutscene, and it goes into auto control, and the game just parks the ship itself. But from what I played, it glitched, and I'm just flying around the area, and it's like in a tent, and it's such a tight squeeze. I can't do it by moving around. So I don't know what all I had to do to trigger that, but I reloaded and I did the same bit again, but this time the game knew, oh, we're close to the checkpoint, we could easily get through. Maybe if I did it a little bit slower, maybe if I had more direction, whatever the case may be, it suffered. And it showed. It had a problem. It had an issue. It had a bug. It had a glitch in that very moment. Did they come across it? Who knows? And even if they did, are they going to tell us? Is it going to be fixed? This one particular glitch that I came across, I still find loot that I cannot pick up. Sometimes it's a object that's hanging over it. I remember on stream, there was a moment to where I broke a fence, and a fence was laying on top of a gun, and it looked pretty good, and I wanted to pick it up. But the fence prevented me from picking it up, because an object laid over the weapon, and I couldn't pick it up. This game has looter-shooter aspects, but it's fun. You can build your character. You could do so many things. There's romance angles. You could romance a guy. You could romance a woman. You can have a male or female. It sounds weird. It sounds memeable. You can make a trans in the game if you want. If you're into that. I think I was talking to an IRL friend, and they even pointed... there was someone that hates the game, and they said it sexualizes trans. And it was like, well, isn't that what you wanted? Because the same person was like, you know, you have to have all genders, and like, you can make a trans in the game if you wanted to. You can. It's there. You could pick not just male or female body. You actually can. They have a genital feature. It's there. It's weird, yes, but it's there. And I discovered it off stream. And I saw that and I was like, holy shit, I did not even know that this was even in the game. Because on stream, I went through all my settings. I turned off, what was it, nudity or something. Censor nudity. Because I'm going to be streaming. So they took that feature out when I did that. But off stream, I mean, hell, I'm off stream. So I decided to flip that on. Well, guess what? Well, It's dangling. I could tell you that. So, but like, yeah, it's there's so much that you could do in the game. Is there too much sex? Well, I know if you step out of the red light district, there's not as much sex elsewhere, but yeah, it's definitely there. Oh my god, the nudity. Oh my god, all of this. Okay, well, you can use a big, fake male genitalia around and like friggin' Saints or not well actually yeah there is actually a big D in Saints Row, I believe. um when you go to Mackenzie's place, there's a big weapon flopping around there. And like San Andreas, you have a male genitalia that a fake one, and you could use it as a weapon. It's there. It's memeable, yes, but it's there. And basically, CDPR just saw like all these other games and what they were doing sexuality wise, and they were like, well, let's add that into the game. Some of the stuff that they added, like, it would be a mod. And all of a sudden, CDPR just said, we're not making a mod. This is in the base game. And it's there. So maybe it's not my kind of it's not really my cup of tea too much, but like, I'm not against it. It's not that big of a deal to me, but I have seen some comments about that side of things. And is it bad? I guess if it really means that much to you, but not to me. Is this something that's in the game that is weird and is there? So enough said. But yeah, there's just so many problems and issues with this game that does need to be addressed. At least with the bugs and glitches. I did not follow the game in its entirety, so I have no idea what was scheduled to be in it and is completely absent. But I kept myself in the dark and wanted to play the game, essentially what some people would call a blind playthrough. And I wanted to go in blind. I didn't want to know anything about the game. That was how I was. There are some people that followed. Apparently the game was partially announced like 10 years ago or 11 years ago, whatever the hell. That's how long this game was in the making. And well, now it released. Now it has problems and it needs to be fixed. It needs to be addressed. And from the bugs and glitches that I saw are not breakable, not making the game unplayable. It is annoying, but it's not. There can be moments that can take the immersion out. There can be moments in the game that can prohibit you from continuing, but it's a combination of you could either just skip it or you can get lucky and reload the game, and that would fix the issue. So as long as you constantly save, that shouldn't be an issue. But I mean, if you do work up a lot of stuff and it's just one glitch after another, I mean that could be that's widely annoying. So, but it is what it is. So bad, yes, but it's doable. And but all the bugs and glitches that I came across are nothing like what people say is happening on console. Bad, yes, but it's not. I've seen worse. I've seen what is unplayable, and what is here is not unplayable. It is perfectly fine. But I will say, it does suck to see that CDPR is moving on and they're not fixing the game that is broken. So with that, I have to put Cyberpunk at number 5. And this game, just a few hours ago, was number 1. It now dropped to number 5. If I can, I will throw this game off the list, but I don't have any honorable mentions. I have exactly 5 games that I played in 2020, so I have to put this at number 5. If I could, of a game that released in 2020, I would throw this game out. If I want to throw this game out, but I have no other game that released in 2020. I have exactly 5 that I played that did release in 2020. So, yeah, Cyberpunk would have been number 1, but bugs, glitches, and technically they didn't neglect the game yet, but the off chance that they do is bad. And I don't want that to be the case. They maybe, like I said on stream, said on the podcast, yes, it is possible that the game is going to be properly maintained when it fully releases and they have all the DLC, and they would still update the game, still fix all the bugs and glitches and issues. But right now, there is a sign saying that they are moving on. And that rubs me the wrong way, and that's the reason why I put Cyberpunk 2077 at number 5. CDPR, please don't fail me. Please don't. Because what I played is good. You still need to fix the game. Even for PC. Fix it. Please. I'm begging you. Fix it. On consoles, I know it's far worse. They need more love and care than PC, but still. Game needs to be fixed across the board. Please, CD Projekt Red, fix your game, please. I can easily spend another hour just talking about this alone, but we're moving on. We're moving on. I think I said enough. It's really hard to kind of come off of that because a lot of passion just goes in that one game alone, so. But it is what it is. Again, I apologize, but moving on. So, my number 4 favorite game that I played in 2020, that did release in 2020, that I played, is, and I hope to God I didn't screw anything up, so please, God, tell me. Yes! Alright. Awesome. Yeah, it's Helltaker. So, like I said, I was changing up my list very last second, just, when I did this bit. So, 4th favorite game for 2020 that released in 2020 that I played is Helltaker. Helltaker is, and I believe, Dark actually brought this up in his honorable mentions. It wasn't in my honorable mentions because it wasn't that great of a game, but it was still. If you like puzzles, this is probably going to be one of your favorite puzzle games. The music is good. Not the greatest I've ever heard, but I see the appeal. It's a good game. I had fun with it. But I felt like I wasn't really being all that entertaining, so for comedy purposes, I just started like really yelling off the top of my lungs when I played this, and I was doing it so bad that I was actually losing my voice doing it, and once that happened, I just kind of had to slow down. My carpal tunnel was even kicking in at one point, and one thing after another, man. Also, I think this game may have screwed up my gamepad because I think I played this game and then I tried to play Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc, and what ended up happening was, get this, I couldn't play Danganronpa because my gamepad was completely broken. I did some settings with my gamepad because something wasn't quite working with Helltaker. I was able to sort it out, and then when I did, Danganronpa, my gamepad wasn't working anymore. So, I have Helltaker to thank for that, and that was a pain in the ass, and I hope to God I don't have to do that again. Anyway, but yeah, Helltaker, it was fun, but it wasn't really my kind of type of game. But if you like puzzles, if you like good music, probably, even if you're not a fan of the game, probably actually look up the soundtrack to the game. You might actually like it. I heard better, but I could see the appeal in it, and it was good. So yeah, that was my number 3, I believe. No, number 4. Number 4. That was my number 4. My number 3 favorite game that I played in 2020 that released in 2020 is number 3, No Pixel Dating Simulator. So again, another indie title. Dark recommended it. By the way, Dark, I believe, also recommended Helltaker. A mod of mine, good friend, Josh, 98, also said it was good, so I took their word for it. So, actually, Josh recommended Helltaker, but it was Dark, and Dark alone that recommended No Pixel. Basically, if you like, the Red Dead Redemption, GTA, excuse me, GTA RP. There is definitely a lot of characters from the GTA RP community that they have interesting characters and people that are in the game, and they're just really fun and entertaining to just kind of interact with and all that stuff. And it is really entertaining to kind of see those characters like come to life in game form, and it's a dating simulator with them in it, and if you're a big fan, you're gonna love it. I I heard there was an update, and they are updating the game. I don't know what version that Dark has played, but I know Dark is like really into RP, so like he freaking loves this stuff. So I can see him like really losing himself in it. I don't really care too much about it, but I still appreciated it because I have seen some of the people from the RP community, and they are very fun and entertaining to watch. Like, I see the appeal. It is really, really awesome. I remember seeing some great moments with Nikita, both doing the podcast and off stream, just watching it for myself. And I can say the people in the RP community is really cool, really awesome. A lot of interesting characters, a lot of unique characters, and yeah, so to see some of them done in video game form in a dating simulator, and I think a dating sim actually kind of really works for it. So yeah, it was interesting, it was unique, some pretty lot of laughs, and some interesting back stories of some of the characters, and yeah, it's pretty awesome. So if you guys like that, possibly give that a look. And we'll move on to number 4. Number 4 game that I played in 2020 that released in 2020. Number 4 is Mafia 1 Definitive Edition, released 2020. I love this game. I absolutely love it. Mafia 1 is so good. The original game is one of my favorite games I've ever played. I think if I did a top 10 of all time, without a doubt, it would be in the top 10. I think it would be a disservice to not have it in the top 10. How far on the list, I don't know, but it's super good. I absolutely love this. Wait, number 4? Sorry guys. I don't know what's wrong with me. For some reason I have it listed at number 4 on the text in my OBS, but it's actually my number 2. Sorry, it's my number 4 that I announced, and it's number 2 on the list. My bad, guys. My bad. I just now noticed. Look, my brain is fried and needs a break. You know what? This was all Cyberpunk's fault. This was all CDPR and Cyberpunk. They're in my head and they're toying with me. God! I'm sorry, guys. I'm really sorry. It's my bad. It really is. I tried so hard to put all this together, and this is what happens when you don't plan it out correctly. I really do apologize. My bad. Number 4 on the list. My God. Okay. Look, I'm sorry. Number 2 on the list. My favorite games that I played in 2020 that were released in 2020 is Mafia 1 Definitive. Number 2. I'm sorry. Really sorry. My brain needs a break. Sorry. Mafia 1 Definitive Edition is one of my favorite games that I played. And the OG original is in my top 10 that I played of all time. So when in 2020 they announced that they were going to be releasing Mafia 1 Definitive, and I discovered it when I saw people were playing Mafia 2 one day on Steam or on Twitch. And for some reason, like, I was like, why is everyone playing this game? I looked in my Steam account, and I couldn't help but notice I had Mafia 2 in there twice. Mafia 2 Classic and Mafia 2 Definitive. I'm like, what the hell is this? So there was a slight graphics upgrade with Mafia 2. It's almost not even noticeable, really. But there is a slight difference. And on top of that, apparently Mafia 1 was set to release. And and they were gonna redo Mafia 1. And I would classify it as a remaster. Other people are saying it's a remake. Business terms, I would classify it as remaster, but other people say it's a remake. Remake, remaster, business terms, whatever it is, they re-released Mafia 1 with new actors, basically the same story, same events take place, everything is the same, except things about it has been tweaked. A character, I think her name is Sarah, she ends up becoming... you follow Tommy and how he essentially joins the Italian mafia, and I believe her name is Sarah. Sarah is someone that you end up meeting and Tommy falls in love with, and he actually ends up marrying her and has a family. And because of that, with Mafia, they tell a very good story with Sarah. Like, they actually follow Sarah around. Sarah, in the original game, she was there for one mission, and then you never see her again. And it's only through interactions with other characters, people would say, hey, Tommy, how's Sarah doing? And you kind of hear about your day-to-day business at home through other people, instead of actually experiencing it for yourself. And when they redid Mafia 1, they added her as a character. And so that was a major tweak that they did that was not in the original, but it was still good. It was interesting. And I really love it, really enjoyed it. And they also added another tweak to the cigars. There's a moment to where the boss Salieri is saying, "I want you guys to uh, transport some cigars for me." And in the original, it was a case of, um, well, we're just transferring cigars, so you go over, you transfer the cigars, and then you find diamonds. And then it's like, where do these diamonds come from? And I think in the original, they went with diamonds simply because, and this is my guess, they video games have changed over the years. There was a time you couldn't use foul language without getting, well, we can't market this to kids. So sex and nudity has kind of been like a very niche thing. We don't want to go too far without overdoing it. And this is my guess. I could be wrong on this, but I feel like they didn't want to put drugs in the game because they figured that might get like essentially kind of like a pornographic rating, you know. I mentioned before, like in video games, people don't want to see kids be hurt or harmed in a video game. So, like in Skyrim, kids are invincible. And I'm, like I said, I completely agree with that. And so, and I do remember playing an old game called Scarface, The World Is Yours. I love Scarface. It was based on the Scarface movie. I think it was from 1983. I think is when it released, and it had Al Pacino. And it's one of my favorite movies I've ever seen. I really love the movie. And when they did the video game, in the movie, you always hear that Tony doesn't like shooting innocent women and children. That's a no-go for him. But in the game, they clearly reference that. And every time you try and take out your gun and shoot innocent people, basically Tony Montana ends up saying to himself, "I shouldn't do that. That is wrong." Or he would say a remark, and it's clearly, "I'm not going to do that." So the fact that they, so I mean, clearly there needs to be a limit. So, and I completely agree with that. And so I think at the time, it's possible the developers thought, well, we shouldn't go with drugs. We can't reference drug dealing, trafficking. But if we go with diamonds, that will probably be a little bit different. That's my guess. I could be wrong. But, so yeah, and in the game, in the original, they had, well, we're transporting cigars, here's diamonds, and that was supposed to be like a real turning point in the game. And it shows Tommy's reliance, or excuse me, not his reliance, but his loyalty to his boss. Because before, he's always been like very direct with them, and he never saw any signs of like deception. And that was a moment that was really strong for Tommy, and you see that play out. By the way, I mean, what I'm saying is kind of spoilery, but I'm not getting into depth about the spoiler part, so. But anyway. And so when they did it in 2020, they changed it to where we're going to transport cigars. Cigars? That's such an easy deal. Why are we doing cigars? There's got to be something to it, right? Like diamonds or something. Catch on real quick. So instead of discovering diamonds, you discover something else. And so, right off the bat, through dialogue, Tommy is already catching on, and he's like, well, these are not cigars, they're something else. They're like diamonds or something, right? And he says, yeah, it's diamonds. So now you're thinking, oh, it's diamonds. But they still need to show that deception. So it's not diamonds that you end up discovering, it is something else. But the same thing happens to where there's deception. It's not what you think, or, well, not what you, it's not so much not what you think, it's what you were told it was, and it's not that. So I'm sure if you give it some thought, you probably already know what it is. But play the game and you'll see for yourself. But there is so you told Salieri it's not something else, it's diamonds, and Salieri says yes, it is diamonds. But when you play that story out, there's still that deception to where you were told it was diamonds disguised as cigars, and it's cigars disguised as something else. And obviously there's that deception, and you see that story play out, and it is entertaining. So small tweaks from the original and the main, from the original and the new version, but other than that, it's the same storytelling. The voice acting is done better from the original in terms of quality. But when I hear the original voice actors, I do kind of picture those voices to those characters. The quality of voice acting is kind of diminished because they weren't really seeing voice acting as like a big selling point. It was all about just getting the job done and doing mostly gameplay, which is what it is, but it's alongside great storytelling. And when they did Mafia 1 Definitive, they added a character, they added a theme to the characters in that they are not just random Italians and they sound like they're from New York. They're actually more localized. They went with voice actors that have more of a accents that you would hear in Chicago, and that's actually what they went with because they localized it to Chicago. And a friend of mine, IRL, who ended up telling me that, you know, Prohibition, even though it was throughout the entire country, it was more, Prohibition is more entwined with Chicago than it is New York. Even though New York probably did have it too, but all the speakeasies and that you hear, they were all glorified mostly in Chicago, and the case in point is Al Capone. Al Capone ended up becoming a mob boss who was really known, but when you really think about it, he was actually never a real mob boss because the guy is Italian, not Sicilian. And Sicilians in the Italian mafia are represented wrong. They're not actually, the bosses are supposed to be full-blooded Sicilian and not Italian. Well, Al Capone is Italian, not Sicilian. So, but he is so over-glorified that he is acknowledged as practically a mob boss. And he did have that mob boss mentality because he has ordered hits and stuff like that a mob boss probably would do, but obviously slightly different. But that's the weight that Al Capone had. And it was just understood that Al Capone works for, you know, this crime family, so on and so forth. So, and because of that, like, Chicago is just well known to be the prohibition capital of of the US at the time. And that's just the way it was. So when Mafia 1 was essentially being developed and they did the definitive edition in 2020, they ended up deciding, well, let's go with people that would have more of a Chicago accent. And it works. Like, in terms of that regard, like they did a great job getting voice actors that are, they sound like they're from Chicago, and it makes sense because they do talk about Prohibition and all that. So, like, Mafia 1 just checks a lot of boxes, and the definitive edition does a great job of that. And they do a lot of great things. There's definitely a lot of immersion. I remember getting out of a car, and I would hear the popping and cracking of a hood that is older cars, I think even newer cars, but I know it more because I'm more. I've been around people that have older cars, and every single time when they fire up their car, they would whenever they fire up their car and turn it off, you would notice that the heat of the engine gets so red hot that it starts making popping and cracking noises when you turn the engine off, and it is trying to cool down. And the dramatic change of temperatures, you get that popping and cracking, things are settling, and there might even be fluids and liquids that are, trying to settle, going from one area to another of the engine, so on and so forth. So there's a lot of moving pieces, air and fluid and temperature changes that you get like a popping and cracking sound. I noticed that when I turned off the car and stepped out, and I was like, do you guys hear that? Like, I could hear the popping and cracking of the heat trying to cool down from the engine. You hear that popping and cracking sound. I freaking love that. I didn't really notice it in my playthrough, but I heard other people say how immersed they were when they heard raindrops like hit the hood of the car. It sounds like you're inside the car and you could hear raindrops hit the car, and that immersive aspect that they did was so good. And it's reasons like that is I could really appreciate that. And luckily, because I have headphones, I could hear all those noises. And I think if I used my speakers, I probably wouldn't be as immersed. But still, like, I had my headset on, I streamed it. My God, it was so good. I freaking love it. I absolutely love anything from the Mafia series. And Mafia Definitive really knocked it out of the park. I thought they did a fantastic job. Like I said, I love the original voice actors, and every time when I do look at the character, my mind just goes right to those characters, and I felt like Tommy and Salieri in particular, just, it didn't feel like what I was watching is how it is. I felt like Salieri should have sounded more Italian. Me personally, I think the voice actor should have sounded a little bit more Italian and a little bit more essentially a guy from New York. And on that note, I think the guy that does the voice of Tommy, I prefer the original voice actor over the new guy. I mean, again, those voice actors probably weren't doing their greatest job doing those voices, but there was something about Salieri and the voice actor they went with for the definitive edition just didn't feel right. And I kind of preferred the original voice actor for Tommy in the OG original in 2002. The new guy just didn't really work, and there was one character that was completely changed, and that was Vince Vincent. Vincent was the guy that gave you all your weapons, and for some reason, and the game never pointed this out. So, in the original, Vincent is supposed to be like the old school retired mob guy. He may have run a crew, he may have been a mob boss, whatever the case. Now, like, Vincent's just kind of like, he's old and he knows a thing or two about guns, so he's the gun expert. And even though that he's old, he's not necessarily out of the game. He could still bring a lot to the table by tweaking guns, making sure that they're, fully armed, lubricated, all the gun maintenance, and like he's the guy when it comes to weapons. So it made sense that, okay, so you have this retired guy, and he's not joining you in taking on jobs and stuff because he's getting up there in age, so he's going to stay out of the game. So when I saw that they turned Vincent into a boxer and have like all this energy, I gotta admit, it was almost kind of hard to even watch the game because that contrast of like, and when you think about it, if he had all that energy, where the hell was he in some of the jobs he could have joined us? He's rubbing people's hair, getting people in headlocks and stuff. He's roughhousing and stuff, and it's like, where's all this energy coming from? Like, he should be with us doing this job, but he's just hanging back. Why? And I don't think the game ever explains. And I mean, that feels like there's a story there that is not being told. So, yeah, whatever the case, man. So, I felt like I was completely fine by changing the voice actor, but where I was not fine is if you just had him like a little bit older and be that retired guy, I think it would have been better. Maybe if you actually took Salieri and made if you going by the definitive edition, by taking the new voice actor that they used for the definitive edition for Salieri, take that voice actor, make him Vincent, and give him Vincent's original attitude of being that old retired guy, I think it would be a way better experience. And then try and find another voice actor to do Salieri that sounds a little bit more Italian. And yeah, I think it would have been a way better experience that way, at least in my opinion. But other than those tweaks, and honestly, I actually really did enjoy the fact that they made Sarah an actual character in the game instead of just, I could actually see cutscenes and interactions between Tommy and Sarah as they throughout the entire game, and I thought that was great. Definitely something I did highly approve of there, but I mean, I would have changed the voice acting, definitely, in my opinion, and I did like the little tweaks and nuances with the whole diamond cigars bit. I thought that was good. So there was definitely things to be proud of, but it wasn't. There was definitely things that was good and bad in terms of that. But overall, I mean, this game wouldn't be my number 2 on the list, and it is my number 2. I've been saying number 4, and I'm sorry. It is my number 2 favorite game on the list because it's just so good. And again, I love the time period, and I love the updated graphics. And even though I have my nitpicks, this game is still a solid game. It wouldn't be sitting at my number 2 if it wasn't. So, with that said, number 1 favorite game, and it is my number 1 favorite game for 2020 that I played that was released in 2020 is, of course, Yakuza Like a Dragon. So, Yakuza Like a Dragon is my number one favorite game that released in 2020 that I played in 2020 because there's no other game that could beat it. Great storytelling. I love the story that they told with Ichiban Kazuga. The pacing of the game hits you fast and furious right in the beginning. So already, like, this game just hits you in the face with we're just going right down that road right in the beginning, and just seeing the story that was being told was so good and so great. You really don't know who's heel and face, who's a villain and who is the good guy. It's really all over the place. It is really cool, really awesome. I freaking love Yakuza so much. It is so good. It is so great. But oh my god, oh my god, I'm at a loss for words. I lost my train of thought because of how good it is. There's just so much to cover. It's turn-based. I love the story that they tell with Kazuga. I love the party members that they have. Psycho is awesome. Adachi is awesome. Adachi, I get like freaking Max Payne vibes, to where he's an older cop who's seen stuff happen, and he's willing to help you out. I love Adachi. Namba is awesome. I always feel like I'm botching this guy's name, but Zal, I think he's awesome. Every time when I read the name, I read it as Zal, but people in the game call him Zhao, I think. Anyway, I don't know how you say his, Zal, wherever his name is. He was good. He was good. I like it. God, minigame simulator, typical Yakuza. You could do anything. You could play a video game in the game. There's side content galore, and you could really lose yourself in this game more ways than one. You could build. Oh my god! New Game Plus. You have to. This is the first game that I've streamed to where I would say you only should be doing this game New Game Plus. And here's why. There's rare items and stuff that is in the game that you can't necessarily get again. You have to do New Game Plus in order to get that item again. Well, guess what, people? If you do New Game Plus, you can get all those items. You could even stack items and get double the bonus off of it. You can't triple because they don't have another slot for it. You can only go with 2. You have a weapon, whatever that happens to be, so there's perks and stats for that. You have a helmet, perks and stats for helmets. Chest piece, again, you can get stats and abilities from that. And then you have the lower body, and you can get stats from that. And then you have 2 items you could put on your character. It could be any kind of type of item. And whatever 2 items you could put, you can build off of that. And so if you stack items and you slap 2 things of the same item, you can stack it. And you could get a lot of experience from stacking items. You have job experience, which is your class. You have your character experience, which is your overall character. So your overall character goes with you no matter what. That doesn't change. It's stuck to that character. And it could only go up, never down. However, though, your stats on your class is restricted to that class. So if you really had one class really boosted, say for example, you boosted, say, bodyguard. Well, if you have bodyguard built up, but you did not touch, say, I don't know, chef, then your chef character is like, at 0, so you're not gaining any experience out of it. And depending on what class you go with, it has a default base that you are stuck with. So something like Enforcer is going to have like more health and more mana, or MP as it's called. And yeah, so there's classes, there's a whole bunch of stuff. It's really, really cool, really, really awesome. Yakuza Like a Dragon is really, really good. References to previous games in the side content. The main story even has a major spoiler for Yakuza 6. I saw it, it went over my head, but at the same time, I really don't want to know anything about the characters and stuff. So, something tells me I know bits and pieces of 6 that is going to be a little frustrating because I know the spoilers behind them, but I'm still hoping that 6 overall is going to be really good. And yeah, I really love Yakuza. I can't wait to see more of it. And yeah, Yakuza Like a Dragon. It is one of my favorite games that I ever played. It's just so good. It's so good. I much like Cyberpunk, I could be here for hours just talking about my favorite games, and it is just really, really good. So, give me a second to do our last and final category. So we have one more category to go over, and it is the last category on the list. So, yeah. Okay. So now, just to give a brief cap of what has happened. So now we are going into games that were not released in 2020. So, with that said, we are going to be diving into that. So these are going to be games that were not released in 2020. And I need to make sure do this properly. I don't think this needs to be changed. So before, there was the last game that last category. I screwed that. My bad. Okay. So it took a little longer last list that I did because it took a little bit longer last list because of took a little bit longer last list because I actually had to alter the actual list, and now all of a sudden I'm in a position to where all I just need to do is just copy everything. Should be good. So I do believe this is the last list, and these are games that I played in 2020 that were not. Did I screw something up? Hold on a second. Excuse me. I may have screwed something up. So, as the okay. For some reason, it's throwing me off because I'm seeing some names from the podcast, and I'm like, wait a second, shouldn't there be... This isn't the same list, is it? No. Can't be. It can't be the same list. Yeah, that's right. Uh-huh. Yep. Solid. Okay, so some of them are partially different, but there are some games that popped up from the podcast that I did earlier today. I did it. I liked the podcast that me and Dark did. Thought it was great. And this list isn't entirely the same, but it is. A lot of crossover from the podcast I just did. So, anyway, yeah, I'm seeing a lot of crossover from my list that I brought up. So, I do believe there is one change. I do believe there is a single change. And I think I might switch those two. Once again, I think I might switch those two. Yeah, I think I put that one there just so that way... Yeah, sorry guys, I need to switch these. So, yeah. Once again, I think I know what happened. So I remember talking to Dark to where I said, yeah, so I made a slight change because I realized there was a game that was completely neglected that I did want to put on, but it's, but yeah, I put it on my categorized list, and for some reason, wait, or was I talking about the Universal Top 10? Well, then again, it would be there if this is after the fact. I forget, but there was like a list that I came up with, Universal Top 10 and stuff like that, and I left a game that was completely neglected, and yeah, so also, what is Max Payne 3 doing on that freaking list? Get off. Thank you. Now, I need to make sure that I get this right because I made a slight alteration. So I need to make sure to put that there on my dealie. So 1 second. Okay, I think that's the list. Okay. Okay. So, made one change, but all in all, it's exactly it. So, here we go. Number 5, games that I played in 2020 that was not released in 2020. My number... Actually, yeah, I need to move that one too, don't I? Crap. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's my bad. It's my bad. I'm the worst. What? Well, you know what? It's I have 3 keyboards, so bear with me on this. So which one are we switching? Yeah. Crap. I'm screwing up everything right now. Yeah, my bad. Once again, a last minute change that I somehow did not foresee. Sorry, guys. Sorry, guys. My bad. My bad. So, with that said, uh, so I'm all over the place. I just now realized maybe I would go with this game at number 6, but you know what? Screw it. Let's just roll with it. So my number 5 favorite game of 2020 that I played, not released in 2020, is Witcher 3. So, Witcher 3 is a game that I completely neglected on my list. And I noticed it, and I was like, I gotta make that change. Technically, I should have GTA San Andreas on this list, but you know what? My list, my rules, I'm all over the place. I don't mind switching GTA out with Witcher 3 because, honestly, I think I want to talk more about Witcher 3 than I do San Andreas, if that makes sense. Not to knock San Andreas because it is good, but honestly, yeah, it's... I think I would rather want to talk about Witcher. Just simply because it is super good. Now, again, I should point out that technically GTA should be here, but I would rather talk about Witcher because Witcher is just super awesome. So many hours in the game could be spent. Apparently, the game was so big, so massive, a lot of story going on. Not a whole lot of people completed the game to the end. And it's the only fault that the game has is it's too long. But here's the thing. I love long games. I want to spend days, hours, weeks, if I could, years in a game. Longer the better. However, I think my hard drives would not like it, but me personally, I like it. So give me more long games, and 250 hours. I believe the exact amount is like more like 248, but come on, who cares? Round up. 250 hours in Witcher 3. Awesome. Greatest 250 hours I spent in any game period ever. In a single playthrough, because no other game comes that close. And Yakuza 0 comes to a degree, but I mean, it took 2 playthroughs to fill in that gap, right? So, I mean, I gotta give the nod to Witcher. So, Witcher 3 is easily one of my favorite games I've played. The only actual knock I have for it is I'm not a huge fan of Renaissance, which is why I would go with GTA for this spot. But who cares? My list, my rules. It really is a toss-up between those two, so who knows? Tomorrow I would change it to GTA. Today, right now, in this moment in time, I want to talk about Witcher. And Witcher is really good. So, I mean, between the two, I probably like San Andreas more, but again, right here and now, I'm going Witcher. So, Witcher 3 is super cool, super awesome. It was on my list of games to play. I was gonna do it, but a little friend of mine, thanks Fun for speeding up the process. Fun, I believe it's, I forget the numbers that's behind his name. It's like 1682 or something like that. I forget. Anyway, Fun is awesome. Fun said, I want you to play Witcher 3. It was on my list. I had a few games that I wanted to finish before then, but he came in with a donation, and I was like, okay, I'll give Witcher 3. I'll speed up the process. I'll do Witcher 3. I do Witcher 3. It was a really good experience. I love going around, running into all the different characters. We came across different beasts. We had to hunt down a couple of beasts because it was attacking people. There's spiritual entities that could attack, and I played, I believe, on hard, and hard is hard. In the very beginning, there was a guy, NPC, mind you, who was helping me fight off, like, a bunch of, like, wild boars or something like that. And this guy is just like taking out a bow and arrow and just sniping everything left and right. I'm running from everything because everything hurts and everything's killing me. And I had to do so many restarts, and it's like, how's this guy able to shoot everything with just a bow and arrow? And here I am struggling my ass off. But once you start leveling up your character, once you start leveling up Geralt, it's really fun. It's awesome. And then once you get them ranked up, it's smooth sailing. It really is. Your character level does increase your overall health. So you do get more hit points if you level up. And that is something to make a note, because if you don't know that, well, it's gonna be a huge difference between this is easy and oh my god, this is incredibly hard, because there was definitely some fights. I tried to do everything in the game that I possibly can. I tried to do every side story. I did the DLC. I did all the DLC. I tried to stick to main story. There was so much going on. I tried to, there was like hideouts of bad guys, and I would go to these camps and kill everybody, take their loot. I try to do a good playthrough to the best of my ability, but I don't think I always got the best endings, and I honestly don't really care. I'm overall I'm satisfied, and I'm sure there's better endings than the ones I went with, but overall, I was really satisfied with everything. It's just so good. Highly recommended. I know why everyone says Witcher 3 is my favorite game of all time. And I don't blame those guys. Like, I see why you love this game. And no wonder CDPR likes to take on big, ambitious projects. There was a lot of bugs and glitches when Witcher released, but I guess the difference between Witcher 3 and Cyberpunk 2077 is with Witcher 3, everyone that was playing the game was mostly, if not all, on PC, and the game ran way better on PC. And the people that did come across issues maybe just dealt with it, and the bugs did get patched up, and it's more or less really good. I can't say for sure, but I do know there was some bugs and glitches. I believe I came across one glitch to where, well, I didn't come across it, but I came across people talking about it, is because of all the, because CDPR is behind Cyberpunk and Witcher 3. So they're known for the Witcher series, which is, at its core, at its heart, is basically a PC company. So it's just how it is. And so when they decided to do Witcher 3, well, the game is just so good. CDPR did a great job on Witcher 3. A lot of tender love and care went into the game. Witcher is based off a novel from a Polish author who used a lot, or I assume is a Polish author. And the author did use a lot of Polish lore and a lot of folklore, and just went with the Renaissance period with a lot of Polish folklore. And with that, they basically, he came up with Witcher 3, and CDPR, they were a big fan of the novel, and they were like, we want to make this into a video game. A deal was made, and apparently, I guess the author didn't realize how much the game was actually making and wanted basically money out of the deal. So, and of course, I mean, the game is already made, and they already signed off the license, and, well, there you go. And yeah, Witcher 3 is super good. I still need to play Witchers 1 and 2. I'm not anticipating much out of them, but the more I think I keep my expectations low, and honestly, I'm a fan of old video games, and seeing old graphics just, it scratches an itch that I love to see. And it's something that is nostalgic. It's what I've seen, it's what I experienced growing up, and seeing it, done in newer games, or just going back and playing older games, just seeing old graphics, to me, it's something that no one else is gonna be able to explain, and definitely it's something that people like myself can deeply appreciate, and I freaking love seeing old graphics. I really love it, really enjoy it, and I'm hoping to get something good out of Witchers 1 and 2, but we'll see what happens. I'm going to be most likely doing those off stream, and I'll keep you updated if and when I ever do those, but we'll see what happens. And yeah, I hope for good things from I don't know if there ever is going to be another Witcher game, but if there is, I'm excited. Whether it be a sequel, prequel, or what have you. Witcher 3, really good, really awesome. If you like Renaissance, I've heard from some people it's the best RPG game out there, and I mean, I'm not a huge fan of RPGs, but I definitely could say I'm a fan of this RPG, and it is super, super good. I love it. Uh, I guess if I want anything out of it, just give me Renaissance GTA, and I think that's what I got, and I like what I got, and it was good. I don't know what else to say other than good storytelling. I love there's one particular character that has a big moment, and it was really, really sad to see what happened. Sadly, I'm drawing a blank on his name, and I do apologize. And for anyone that is a fan of the game, should probably know what I'm talking about. And yes, I understand you should hate me, but I'm kind of doing this on the fly, so and my goldfish memory isn't the greatest, but I'm sure if I remember his name, I'll bring it up. But I mean, that's on me. Anyway, Witcher 3, really, really good. Recommend it. Give it a shot if you want to take a long, long journey. Strap yourself in, because it's a long journey, but it's really, really good. So, that's my 5th favorite game in 2020 that did not release in 2020. My 4th favorite game that did not release in 2020 that I played in 2020 is number 4, Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc. So I brought this up on the podcast because I love the characters, love the I just really love the game. Definitely came off as like a passing game because I'm not into high school drama. I thought I was going to get high school drama, or at least upon looking at it, that's what I would think. But it's a visual novel that is a crime scene investigation, whodunit kind of type of thing. There's for every murder, there's evidence, and for every evidence, it leads to a perpetrator, and you are just going down this journey of you play as Makoto, and Makoto is a regular average kid, and there's this one school that only the elites of the elites go to, and he got invited to go there. So he goes to it, and he quickly realizes something is very odd about this. Well, to be fair, he doesn't notice it immediately, but he does end up looking up some of the people that is behind the school in terms of their individuals that attend. And it turns out there's a supermodel, there's a baseball player, there's a biker gang leader, de facto biker gang leader. There's so many different characters, and there's definitely more than one character that I felt like could easily that people could easily gravitate towards, and Sakura was a very unique character. Sakura, she was a character that did not pop up on my radar, but I saw what they did with Sakura. Sakura's, this really big girl, and like all muscle. She's a martial artist. She practically does like street fights and stuff. And she looks like a character that you would probably see in like a fighting game. And I mean, seeing someone that's built like a body, she is a bodybuilder, and all of a sudden, still be a woman. There's conflicting looks about that, but it's not bad in any way. It's just nothing about her really really stuck out. But luckily, because of great storytelling, all of a sudden she became like one of the best characters in the entire game. And hearing her story, hearing how her story played out, wow. I was in tears. I was in tears. It was super amazing. There was definitely more than one moment that was I gotta sit back and just be in awe over what took place. And Sakura was one of the individuals that made the game speak to me. And again, and now that I think about it, some of the characters that were I kind of felt like was least interested in was actually some of the best characters in the game. I remember there was the ultimate moral compass, Taka. I remember Taka just making me. I memed with Taka. Taka was the ultimate moral compass. So every single time when he spoke, I always started and ended his sentences saying, "Ultimate moral compass. I think that you are wrong, Sakura. Says ultimate moral compass." I just kept doing that. They didn't have ultimate moral compass say whatever it is he has to say and then finish with ultimate moral compass. I just did that because I was laughing. It made me laugh. And he came off like the guy that would say that. He's got to address that he is ultimate moral compass, and this is what ultimate moral compass says and thinks. And there you go. Like I was just memeing with that, and I was getting a laugh out of myself, and I hope those that did see the playthrough, I hope you guys got a good laugh out of it too whenever Ultimate Moral Compass popped up on screen. Yeah, so that Taka was definitely an interesting character. Well, at least with my memeing, I don't know how many people gravitated towards him in terms of overall character from watching the game, but his character actually changed. His character really, really changed. He was a very strong, assertive, very direct kind of type of guy, and always played by the rules, strict by the rules. Like that's he's ultimate moral compass, and he always plays by the rules. And his character completely changes. He goes from that to basically like a rule breaker, and it was like, but you're the ultimate moral compass, and you're breaking, you know. So like it was seeing his character change. Like it was awesome. It was, I mean, it added to the game. It really added to the game, and I freaking loved it. So yeah, God, I'm trying to think of the other characters. There was a computer programmer that was one of the early characters in the game that had a moment, and it was like, what? What am I going through? What is this? And it was like, what the fuck, in terms of like a good way, a sad way, a very unique and cliffhanger story. Like, and then to hear what that programmer did. I'm drawing a blank on their name, and I do apologize. But their story on what they did, there was definitely more than one tearjerker moment with that character, and it was so good. My words cannot do any of this justice. This entire game cannot be done with any justice with the sound of my voice, with my almost like incoherent speech and very antisocial as fuck and just trying to go off the cuff. I mean, I completely just now realized I am not the best speaker for this game. But believe me when I tell you, if you play it, you're gonna love the storytelling. You're gonna fall in love with these characters. I according to Dark, I played 69 hours of the game, and which sounds about right. And it was a unique ending. I loved the ending. I believe I got the good ending, and I really love this game. So I at one point I remember I was talking about how Motoko showed up to this school. So like it's supposed to be like the elites of the elites, and Motoko shows up and he reads about all the different people that are going to this school, and he reads about them, he knows about them, and then he shows up to the school. He somehow falls asleep. Excuse me. He somehow falls asleep, and all of a sudden he realizes he wakes up in the school, and the school is on a complete and total lockdown. They are shut and locked down inside this building, the school, and they are limited to what they can do. And it turns out they're in a game of death where you have to kill someone if you want to leave. And if you kill someone, you'll become blackened. If you're blackened, it becomes a life or death situation for not just yourself, but for everyone else around you. Because if you killed somebody, that means you have to be innocent until proven guilty. And basically, if the blackened can deceive his peers, his or her peers, then the blackened would be let go. If they are able to successfully deceive their peers, they are allowed to leave, but their peers would be executed. And if the blackened is found guilty, and they are indeed the ones that committed the crime, then they would be executed. And you play it out until there's only one. And the story that they tell is just so beautifully done. This game is a manga and anime, and I played the game first, and then I saw the anime. Did not read up the manga and all that stuff, but I don't think I need to. The game is the original form of the entire series. So the game came out first, then I forget if the manga came out next or the anime, but the game is the original, it's the OG. And because the game is able to have proper pacing, because you can go at your own pace, whenever you come across a Nani moment and you're just really shocked by what is going on and what is happening, you're able to digest everything, and everything's able to sink in. When that happens, you're able to really immerse yourself into the game, and it's a great, great game. For a visual novel, this is the first visual novel I ever played, and wow, do I love it. Again, it's about a bunch of teenagers, so this would have been a pass for me, but I went down that road because I actually saw another streamer stream it. They had some emotes of of one of the characters, Makoto. Makoto? No, they probably did have emotes of Makoto, but they actually have emotes of Monokuma. And Monokuma is basically a puppet for the mastermind that's behind everything, and everything just kind of plays out, and it's just so good. I highly recommend it. It is freaking awesome. You can find the game for $20 without a sale, but you can actually find this game for like $8 if you check out some different sites out there, and they are legitimate sites. Humble Bundle had sales in the past at $8. I mean, you would be doing yourself a favor checking this game out. Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc. And that's the first one out of the series. I am planning on playing the other games. I think there's 4 total. and I'm looking forward to playing all of them. I do hear that the later versions are actually kind of weak in comparison to the first 2 or 3. Either way, good or bad, I want to play it. I want to see what happens, and yeah. So, Trigger Happy Havoc, Danganronpa, really good, and I want to see what the series has. Hopefully, I would see what happens in 2021. So, my top game at number 3 for games that were not released in 2020 that I played in 2020. Number 3 is Mafia 1, the OG original from 2002. I brought this up on the podcast. It's an awesome, awesome game. I absolutely love this game. It is freaking awesome. Mafia 1, the OG original, is just super good. I love the story. I love Tommy and his story that he has. It takes place in the 1920s, or is it the 30s? I take that back. It might actually be the 30s. My brain is dead, and I'm still doing a stream, so I apologize. Tommy's story is really good. They follow the Italian mafia. I can only assume the Salieri crime family, and Salieri is the main boss. And Salieri is an interesting character. The voice acting, the quality is not that great. A lot of kind of monotone, not really putting a whole lot of emotion in certain scenes. But the characters that talk, I could picture that character sounding like the voice actor, if that makes sense. Just with more emotion is all. But even though everything's monotone and the voice acting quality is bad, it still speaks to me. They still tell a great story of deception. They still tell a great story of someone that yearns for a better life, kind of outside the mafia. And they do it in a beautiful way. And the game is basically one big flashback as Tommy is sitting down with a detective, and he is trying to essentially flip and turn on the crime family, and because due to certain events that took place, and Tommy is thinking about his family, he doesn't want to put his family in jeopardy, so he wants to kind of resolve everything and hopefully live a quiet life in a quiet farm in North Dakota when all hell broke loose. Sorry, we're not doing a GTA bit. That's a joke from GTA. But anyway, but yeah, Mafia 1, the OG original. I love the music. The music from Mafia is so good. For Artist of the Week, for the Dark Life podcast, I've been going a lot with the music and artists that you hear from Mafia 1 and Mafia 2, because the music is so good. And yeah, I really love the music in Mafia 1. That's I actually have not done the Mafia 1 artist, sadly. That's on me, and I apologize. But yeah, but hopefully I would do that very soon. I'm planning on doing it the next time that I become host. I have my reasons. But yeah, Mafia 1, the OG original in 2002, is a game that I really enjoy, and I really love it, and I recommend it. It's so good. I like Tommy's story. I kind of already talked about it, so I don't think I need to talk about it. But I really love. I honestly do prefer the 2002 version over the 2020 version, in my opinion. I just prefer the original. I like the time period. I could deal with the bad voice acting because at least the because I look at it like this. At least the characters sound like that character. If I feel like this person was able to talk, like that's what he would sound like. Just probably with more emotion. But yeah. Anyway, so I love the game. I love the ending. I do kind of feel like there is definitely, I do feel like there is some clear symbolism a little bit with the game. I'm just thinking about the ending where you have literal blood money. There's a character that dies, and they're on the second floor of this building, and the blood of them is dripping onto money that basically that money and how it was obtained was through means that was justified for everything that took place. And seeing that blood drop on that money, like, and the way it was framed, the way it was shot, even in the original, like, it's literal blood money. And I mean, come on. How many games Grand Theft Auto never did? Rockstar, I don't think ever did any kind of type of like stuff like that. And it because when I see that scene, that ending scene, and I see that blood drip onto that money, I every time I see it, it's like it's literal blood money. And it really is. Because there are just some times to where things just happen and it's you have literal blood money. And because blood money is a term, and you know you earn that money through violent means, and it could get people killed because of that. Blood money. The game, they show literal blood money, and something about that, you know, it it's just really awesome, and I really like those nuances, or at least that particular nuance. But the game is awesome. The game is great. I love Tommy's story. I love how they played it out. I don't know how they could have done it different. It tells a story of a taxi driver who uh is basically getting chased down by uh goons who want to kill him because he helped out a rival gang, and all of a sudden, well, what's that saying? The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Well, if you have a bunch of goons chasing you down, their enemy would be your friend. And that's exactly what happens. So, Tommy is being chased down, about to be killed, and he makes it to a rival location, and he socializes with these people. He becomes to know these people. He does small jobs here and there, and slowly he moves up the ranks, and he ends up becoming a prominent individual in this criminal society. But then there's certain moments that take place, and he realizes that there's deception, and he's not always being told the full story, and how many lies can pile on before something is just not right. And who knows, ask the right questions or maybe don't know the right answers could end you killed. Tommy didn't want that life anymore. He wanted out, so he wanted to help his family. That's why he tried to tell his story to this cop, and the cop just basically given everything that he's ever wanted because he's been trying to bust the Salieri crime family, and all of a sudden here's this high level gangster in this crime family who's wanting to flip so that way he could give a better life to his family. It tells a great story. And the reason why it's so good is because that is exactly what would happen in real life. There are real life people that they are on the wrong side of the tracks, whether they know it at the time or not. They do it, and one way or another, there's going to be a moment in a lot of people's cases to where they realize it's not the same from when you first joined in. And when you first join in, it's something different, but for most people, it really is, you end up in prison, a body bag, or, well, that's really it. You either end up dead or in prison, and it's easier to live a life without having to look over your shoulder. And for those that go down that wrong path, well, they sometimes do end up, and a lot of the time, they end up having to look over their shoulder because they don't know who to trust anymore. And hearing Tommy's story, it's very real to life. There has been mobsters that they would join the family, and then at one point or another, they're given an ultimatum. And it's either you either face your fate, or you try and make your life a little bit easier for your family and yourself. And that's when people flip. And when they flip and they go against their brotherhood or their gang, what have you, well, that's what happens. And because it's so real, that's part of the reason why I love it. I love the time period. I love the story that they told in the game. It didn't really come up in the 2002 version, but in the 2020 version, in the 2020 version, they ended up having like newspaper clippings of like the actual president at the time. They talked about prohibition. I actually had to turn off the music because I figured I was going to get DMCA'd. Around the time when I did my playthrough, there was a lot of talk about DMCA going around on Twitch and people getting banned, so I had to turn all that off. And apparently, I didn't know this, but at one point, I think you actually hear the US president actually talk about prohibition at the time. There's an actual speech, and it's like, I completely missed that, but holy crap. Like, that's in the game, and I love history. It's just there's certain portions of history that is more that I enjoy more over others. And around the 1920s, 1930s with Prohibition, you had speakeasies and bootlegging and all that stuff. Like, that interests me. That and the style, the class, the whole, a lot of people like even poor families tried to wear a suit if they could. If they wore a suit, they were established, and that look, that style was around for years. And to some degree, I almost kind of miss those days because people would try and dress nice. They would try and dress, with a little bit of style and show that like you're really trying to make something. You didn't have restaurants that were suit and tie only. Everywhere you went was suit and tie because that's what everyone wore. Everyone tried to dress with style, with class at the time, and it's something that you could appreciate, and it's something I definitely appreciate. or at least can anyway. I don't know if I want like exactly everything like the 1920s to be the same because reasons, but there is definitely something about wearing fedoras and a suit draws my attention. It does look awesome. It does look awesome. And one of my favorite weapons is the Tommy gun, the Chicago typewriter. And obviously, Mafia, they feature the Tommy gun a lot, and I just freaking love that weapon. But yeah, Mafia 1, it's really good. I really love it. 2002 is my favorite. And yeah, it's my number 3 on my list for 2020 that did not release in 2020. I should also probably point out that Mafia 1 is actually on this list twice, if you think about it. It's on my list for 2020 and my list for not 2020. So yeah, that is... What was it also at number 3? Was it also at number 3? It was... Wait, is that my list? Okay. Oh. Okay, so that's my Universal. That's my Universal. Ah, close. It was my number 2. Yeah, I had to go back and re-look at the last list I did. So, yeah. But games that I played not released in 2020 is number 2. My number 2 game that I played in 2020 that was not released in 2020 is number 2, Persona 4 Golden. Persona 4 Golden, just like Danganronpa, high school drama is what I thought I was going to get. High school drama is what I not got. The characters is awesome. I love the characters. The characters are so good. You could easily fall in love with them. They're I love this. I love this game. It is so good. I love the ending. The pacing of the game is I guess it's fine. There's always something intriguing that's next around the corner, but the story doesn't really get really good until essentially the ending. And when you do the ending, holy crap, it goes 0 to 60 and they don't freaking stop. I cried. This was the hardest game I ever cried on. It felt like hours I was crying. I had such an emotional roller coaster playing this game, going through that ending. I basically gave a sermon afterwards. Just talking about what I just experienced, what just happened. I never had an experience like that. It hit home to me. I love the voice acting. The voice acting was top notch. The music is incredible. I love the music. Persona 5 is one of my favorite music in video games ever, and it's all made it's all made in-house, and they have like their own vocalists, and the vocalist for P4 is freaking awesome. I love the music. It was so good. Huge props to the entire music team that did the music, and they already made my artist of the week more than once already, and I'm telling you right now, they're going to hit it again and again. The artist that they have for the Persona series is incredible. The artist that they use is so, so good. I love the music in Persona 4. The voice acting is super good in Persona 4. The characters are awesome. The story they tell is incredible. I love the characters. I fell in love with them. These characters became my family, and not a whole lot of games do that. And there was more than one occasion that really hit home with me. But one thing that will stick with me forever is that ending. I was in tears. I was in actual tears, and it was incredible. And I want to experience it all over again. But the other thing about me, whenever I experience something and I know what happens, and it loses its luster. And I hate that about myself, to where I can't enjoy the same experience twice. Every time I look at something, every time I remember something, if I see it again, it doesn't hit as home as the first time. And each time I hit it, it loses the thing that made it so good. And I still have to do a true ending playthrough. I'm still going through all that. Luckily, it was one of the things that did not get destroyed. A external hard drive of mine went out, and I lost a lot of data, a lot of video data. I had video of Yakuza on it that I was making a video for. I actually deleted it, but it would have been on the same hard drive, and that would have been gone. So, if it wasn't by my hand, it was going to be by fate anyways. So, but luckily, Persona is a game that is still has all the original. I'm trying to do a true ending playthrough, and anything new I'm gonna be doing. What I'm planning on doing is doing a true ending playthrough, and I want to do like a I want to do like a setup of like a watch party of just all the new stuff that we didn't see, and then show that off. It's gonna have all my I'm gonna be talking over the gameplay, and so that way you hear my raw first time experience. And since it is a watch party, I would be able to like stop and do stuff if I want to. And yeah, we'll do like a watch party. We'll see what happens, and once we see all the new stuff, we'll play out the final ending. See how it is. Yeah. But Persona 4 Golden, really, really solid game. I absolutely love it. It struck a chord in me that did not do with any other game. And I played a lot of games. This would not be at my number 4 if it didn't. And it would be at number 1. It would be at number 1. I think I said everything I wanted to say about Persona 4 Golden. It's just super incredible. Highly recommend it. Give it a chance. You will thank me later. The only reason why that game is not at number 1 is because of this game, Yakuza 0. Yakuza 0 is the best story-driven game I ever played, ever. And the only reason why I put Yakuza 0 at number 1 in front of Persona is because Persona is good, but Yakuza 0 is a gem. It's great. Where Persona is 10 out of 10 good, Yakuza is off the charts. There's no scale that can contain how good it is. Well, you gotta make a list out of 100. Well, this motherfucker is 200. Well, you gotta make it a 5-star rating. Well, guess what? This thing is a goddamn 10-star rating. It's off the charts good. And it's so good, I could go through that experience again and again, and eventually it will lose its luster, but I think I could play this game 3 or 4 times back to back. There's so much story going on, there's so much content, I have 200 something hours between two playthroughs, and it's still ongoing. I love this game. It is good. There is side content that is in the game that trump the main story in some cases. Their minigame simulator, it is great. Kiryu is an awesome character. Majima is just incredible. I love their story. I love what they tell. I can't say more about this game because it gets into spoiler territory. It's rich, story driven. It is the best story driven game I've ever played. It punched me. I would use the term it punched me in the soul. It punched me in the heart that no other game could ever do. And there's no other game like Yakuza 0. Yakuza 0, I played Yakuza 0, I played Yakuza Kiwami 1, and I played Yakuza Kiwami 2. And with Yakuza 0, Yakuza 1 is good. Yakuza 2 had a soft ending, but everything before the soft ending was really good. But the only imperfection about Yakuza 0 is it is long, but it's only because you would lose yourself in the side content. The side content is some of the best. There is side content that could take up hours at a time. You would probably find yourself enjoying more of the side content than you would the main story. But if you grinded just the main story, it's probably only, I'll say, in the neighborhood of an hour, 20 minutes. But there is side content that is so good that you really enjoy it. And there's not just one side story that's good. For me, there was two. I spent 15 hours in a single stream doing one side story, and it blew me away. I freaking loved it. And then there was an even better side story than that one. And that one was so long, it was over several streams. And I couldn't get that done in a single day. But it was fun. I loved it. I enjoyed it. It is super good. I love the game. It is awesome. I love Yakuza. Yakuza 0 is the greatest thing in the world. I love it. Today on the stream, Dark Fox 47 was talking about Red Dead Redemption. I love Red Dead Redemption, but everyone points to Red Dead as like the default great story-driven game of all time. Yet I played not one, but two games better than Red Dead because they can't stack that. They can't stack what Yakuza 0 and Persona 4 have. There is better storytelling from those two than Red Dead Redemption. And it pains me that that's the standard that where everyone is at, is RDR2. I love RDR2. I am completely down to play RDR again. Marston is one of my favorite characters in video games, but John Marston is really good, but Rockstar cannot tell the same kind of type of story that I get from Persona 4 and Yakuza 0. They just can't. Red Dead Redemption would have been a 10 out of 10. Then I saw what real storytelling is. It's a legit 7. It's a legit 7. Maybe an 8 at best. It's definitely not a 9. It's definitely not a 10. At the time when I played RDR, sure, yeah, it was a 10 out of 10. But Yakuza 0 and Persona 4 stole that spot. They stole it, but it was a competent steal. It's what you thought was good, and then there's what you thought was good, and then holy crap, it just got better. It was a justified steal. And honestly, Persona 4 deserved that spot a long time ago, because that was like released in PlayStation 2. It's just it got some updates, and the version that was released on PSP eventually got released to PC. I played that version, and that version was awesome. It was a little broken, but I mean, it wasn't unplayable. I eventually got it to work, and I enjoyed my experience. Yakuza was a game I was always told about. You should play it, and I never pulled the trigger on it. And that was coming from an individual IRL friend who played the game from the very beginning, all the way back on PlayStation 2. And he played Yakuza 1, Yakuza 2, OG original, Yakuza 3, Yakuza 4, again, OG original, and stopped at there. And then with me, I heard about it, never thought about it, and then, you know what? It's for PC. I'll hear him out. But if I play the game, I heard good stuff about Zero. I'm going to start with Zero. I even spoiled partially the ending, but I didn't get it. But I actually did saw the ending, and I didn't get it. But holy crap. Yakuza 0. Right over a fucking watch. A watch. A fucking inanimate object. A watch. I marked out. I got excited. I was in tears when I saw a watch. A watch gave more meaning to me in life than anything Red Dead Redemption ever did. Yakuza is a gem from God that people need to take a chance on. If it's not your game, understandable. You don't have to play it. But if you go down that path and give it a try, you will enjoy this game. It's not something you're just going to pick up, and it's not going to tug your heartstring. But you have to give the game proper attention, because it is done entirely in Japanese. There is subtitles, but you have to pay attention to those subtitles. If you are off doing whatever the hell and miss the subtitles, well, guess what? You're missing out on what is happening. Yakuza 7, or as it is released as called Yakuza Like a Dragon in the US and in other English-speaking audiences, Yakuza Like a Dragon was the only one out of the series that has both English and Japanese voice acting, English and Japanese subtitles. The game is so good. And I played the game with Japanese voices, and in Yakuza 7, or Like a Dragon, that's what I should be saying, I'm currently going through an English playthrough, and I freaking love it. But Yakuza 0, in particular, is the one that is the best. I also did play Yakuza Like a Dragon, I forgot to mention that, but Yakuza Like a Dragon is RDR2 good, or RDR1 good, but it doesn't. Like a Dragon cannot beat 0. 0 is just a godsend. It is super good. The pacing in the beginning is a little terrible, but if you can make it to chapter 5 and still have even an inkling of interest in the game, you will thank me later by continuing on, because there was a moment I believe in chapter 5 where I did start to question, what am I doing? And then I continued on, made it to chapter 7, and the cliffhanger for chapter 6 was, okay, this is the reason why I need to play this game and continue on. But what chapter 5 showed me how good it is, but chapter 5 showed me how good it can get, but it really hit home in chapter 6. At the end of chapter 6, so more like 7 actually. So at the end of I just need to end the stream. So chapter 7, at that point, I was completely invested. I want to see this until the end. But at chapter 5, I saw how good it can get, and it kept me going. So if you could get over that first hump, and if you have interest in seeing what happens next, it is a hell of a story. And guys, I think I may have just did 2 hours, actually maybe even 3 hours, going over all these games that I just freaking love. Guys, I really freaking love this. I really loved the podcast that we did. I really love doing this countdown with you guys, and yeah, it is freaking awesome. But those are my picks. That's my list. I don't know what else I could say more. I really love everything, but I think I'm tired. I want to get some sleep. And yeah, I think I will see you guys in the next one. So for anyone that did stop by, I appreciate you. I love you so much. I do want to thank Dark for everything. I'm so happy that he is a co-host of mine, and honestly, I don't want it any other way. Me and Dark, we just have fun every podcast, or at least I do. I hope the same goes for him, but I really enjoy doing these podcasts and just being able to talk about the things that you truly love, and it's really something. Video games is awesome. I like playing them. Video games can really do a lot of good, but for some reason it's just not everyone's thing, and that's understandable. I'm also a big wrestling fan, and not everyone's into pro wrestling. I also really love music, but it may not be the music that you like, which is fine. But I just always kind of feel like people need to have more passion, more love and respect, and I think with that, people can make lives not easier for themselves, but also easier for everyone else around them. And I think today, just being able to sit down and just talk about your favorite games was, I mean, this was a lot of passion. I put a lot of work and effort in doing everything that I showed today. Maybe there's a better way of doing this countdown, this list, but yeah. Anyway, I don't know what else to say other than I really love you guys. I do want to thank everyone who stopped by to the podcast. I do want to thank everyone that stopped to After Dark. Whether you watch it live as it's happening right now, or you watch it later as it gets uploaded to YouTube, either way, I do appreciate you all We will be doing another podcast on the 6th of February. And it's going to be awesome. Dark's going to be hosting. We'll see what happens, what Dark has in store for all of us. Yeah, I think that's about it. So I do want to thank everyone for showing up. I'll see you guys with me and Dark on February 6th. Tomorrow I'm going to be doing Yakuza Like a Dragon, still going through that playthrough. And I think I'm gonna start breaking out some other games. I just don't know what games are gonna be interesting me the most. But I hope that Yakuza the Remastered Collection, if and when it does release, I might wait for a sale, so I may not get it immediately at launch, because I kind of want to know what the price is, at the very least. We are getting 3 games, but they're 3 games that were released years ago, the originals, and then there was a remaster collection, which I'm assuming is the version that we're getting, and those ones was a year or 2 ago, and they're just now releasing on PC, so I need to see what the price is. But until then, I'll see what happens. It's supposed to be next week is when it releases, but again, I want to see the price, so it all depends on price. If it's under 30, I think I'm getting it, but I think I could get it for cheaper. So I want to see if I could do a discount. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But yeah, but until then, I need to think of potentially another game to play. Until then, that's if I finish. Well, I know I'm gonna finish Yakuza Like a Dragon, but I just don't know when at this point. But I'm gonna play Yakuza Like a Dragon tomorrow. Hopefully I finish it. And yeah, I think that's about it. So I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. But podcast wise, me and Dark will be seeing you together on the 6th of February. And again, Dark's hosting, so go check him out, give him a follow, all that good stuff. I also just now realized I would always post his link in chat, and I just haven't been doing that. I'm the worst. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed everything, and see you in the next one. And again, on behalf of me and Dark, we'll see you guys later. Even though he's not here. But look, my brain needs to... my brain, okay? My freaking brain needs rest. I'm out, guys. I'm out!